morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, and welcome to another reaction. This time, I have the great Kevin Samuels, the Godfather. I think we can all agree that he is the one that really popularized this men-led pill movement. And so this is really a lesson because a lot of people who don't want to wait for the success, they don't want to work for it. So they're going to react to this video that released sometime but yeah, they uploaded 2 months ago. So men start winning at 40. This should be interesting.
All right. At age 40, though, ladies and gentlemen, at age 40 is where the game changes. Shout out to Game Changer. At age 40, you have put in your 20 years. You have done the work of getting your body right. You've done the work of networking, failing, trying better, failing again, and now you've gone into the second phase of life. You should have been promoted at least three times by 40. By 40, you should have been promoted at least 3 times. And sometimes you may have to move companies to move up. You should have moved up at least 3 times. This is when you should be at the director phase of life, the regional manager, vice president. You are ready to win.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we've heard is what we've always used to be taught to us when you grew up in our families. That hard work, perseverance, at some point you will win. It is expected that by the time you're 40, you've gone through enough experiences, you've failed enough to know the pitfalls. You've also taken time to improve your skill sets, your knowledge, and you've also taken time to introspect on your weaknesses and see whether it's weaknesses you can address or it's weaknesses that need to be managed. Because sometimes there are things that happen to you that you cannot control. So at this, of course, Kevin Samuels is speaking ideally. Sometimes all these things come later because for so many reasons, but ideally by the time you're in your 40s, you should have solidified not only your work ethic, what you're good at, you should have already tested it in so many facets so that you know what is required to win. So I think that's just for that intro. I think it's important to have the mindset that nothing comes easy or quickly that's worth having.
This is the phase of life to where you take no prisoners. And this is the phase of life where guys got to become more and more aware because this is the phase of life where
I'm a PhD.
lose. They can no longer ride on the fact that black don't crack and they still look like they're hot enough to get in the club. I know so many women who are 35 plus who, when you look at their bodies, they are beautiful, but you touch them and they're soft. They work out, but it's not firm, it's not tight like it used to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, age spares no one, but more particularly, it doesn't spare those who don't take care of themselves. But worse, when it comes to women. Yes, you could try as much as you can. You can do body alterations, plastic surgery, injections of all kinds, estrogen injections. But in the end, what remains is you, the underneath which you can't hide. For example, you can't hide a dry womb, but can no longer house a child. You cannot hide a sagging skin. No matter how much plastic surgery do you seen them. You seen them, how they look after they do all that plastic surgery. So it is just an understanding that by the time you get into your 40s, your 50s, you're established. As a man, you know exactly what you're supposed to do. You're now moving to a phase of conquering. You have no time for a lot of nonsense. And for women, you already established whatever you established. More important, your family, you're now a matriarch who should be approached for advice, not chasing D with your daughters on the internet.
Because gravity and time is the same on all of us. And why is this important? Because you need to understand at age 40, your mindset needs to remember at age 20 how you had to eat shit. Because so many women will be coming along your way who had nothing for you back in the day when you were beta. Yeah, back in the day when they had nothing for you and they hitting you with the hey big head. And you're like, don't diss them. Don't be mean to them. Hell, talk to them, pick their brain, work with them if possible. And if you won't, dust a few of them off. But by no means do you get involved with them.
Now, this is one of the most important things, and I've seen there's been a lot of pushback from the women, especially the older single women, divorced single mothers, or just the normal career woman who never went that route. They're always so mad when a mature, older gentleman gets with a younger woman in early 20s, mid 20s. They're so mad. Why? Because they want you at your best. At your 40s, you've got everything going right, you can handle business, and you're still physically capable of doing what they require in the bedroom, you know what I'm saying? But at that particular moment, the world is your oyster. You can pick from any generation. Why would you go for an older woman who doesn't have what you need? She can't give you children. And they like to talk about, oh, they have peace, they've experienced everything. Yes, they're traumatized. They're totally unsuited, they're traumatized.
Shout out to Minister Jap. He has a phrase that I'm going to take. He says, you're too old to mold. There used to be a brother running around the manosphere, on the manosphere street talking about he doesn't deal with women over 25. I think that's a bit young. But the general sentiment is if you are a woman and you are cute, pretty, beautiful, and or gorgeous, that's 6, 8, 9, and or 10, and you have never been married, there's something wrong with her.
That is a troublemaker. That is somebody who had all their options and chose all the wrong options because they had to have fun and explore. All these terms sound nice when they're being used to explain away the decisions that have put people in a precarious situation later in life. Or I was just having fun. Or I was just living my best life. You can live your best life if you want when you're younger, or you can invest when you're younger and live your best life when you're older. There's really very few people who are able to pull that off, to be able to totally throw caution to the wind when they're in their 20s, but then get to become these great people in their 40s when they, especially women, when they have forgot all about family and decided, oh, it's their career. Or they would decide, oh no, it is as many men that I can. All these options. When you're pretty, you get all the options. From the richest men to the poorest, from the most handsome to the ugliest. The world is their oyster. But look at them now, Vivica Fox, all those people. They look like clowns. At 60, 50, they're trying to add on BBLs. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. And that's why, gentlemen, you must take your pick when you got into that point and you've taken care, you handle business, and now you're successful. Do not take in stragglers.
100% of the time, there is something wrong with her. She might be feminine. She is likely beautiful. She may say all the right things, but in the play, but somewhere there is a flaw in her mindset. And those are the women who are going to start coming out of the woodwork. These are the women who I talk to with the most to try because they're really trying to understand how do I correct this behavior. I didn't hear this information growing up. I didn't see it growing up. But look, I have mismanaged my prime years, and I'm trying to salvage it. They, they freezing eggs. They're taking all kind of tests. And here's the thing: I don't begrudge them any of this stuff except one problem. Except one problem. They're dating in their late 30s like they're in their 20s.
That is absolutely true, and I find it so cringy. It is so childish. It is actually, in my opinion, one of the biggest red flags that can be seen on a woman, especially when she's chasing male attention and validation online, trying to look sexy, dressing revealing clothes and all that, and she's in her 50s, 60s. Something is extremely wrong with her. This is somebody who refused to grow up. This is people who have refused to accept their role in life because, well, there are many opportunities people don't have. We don't take all the opportunities because not all the opportunities are good or worth it. But a lot of people, especially women, do take bad opportunities. They put themselves in very precarious positions and they expect the entire world to shift and turn to accommodate all these blunders. They expect you, gentlemen, to be able to sacrifice all your hard work and sacrifice that you've had to put in to become who you are, to take up, to become an orphanage for used up, arrogant, second-rate women. That is exactly what they are. I'm sorry, I see a lot of horror girls online. We buy from very, very low quality females, and it simply can't be accepted. Respect yourself, gentlemen. Let's do the last bit now.
And you can't do that. And see, so many guys in their late 30s, when we're hitting the time where it's time to start winning, guys are like, you know what? Well, you know what? It's time for me to go ahead and decide to settle down. But you don't settle down with these women, gentlemen. You don't settle down with these women. Why don't you settle down with these women? Because they'll ruin you. They'll ruin you because their software, their mindset is what you're going to deal with. Remember, you don't deal with a woman's what comes out of her mouth. You deal with her actions, and her mindset will tell you everything you need to know.
That's exactly it. Because a lot of the times, we've gotten blinded. Men do get blinded by just the physical and sweet words and those eyes and whatever you might find fanciful. But you forget that these people have been through ideological possession. They've been through colleges where they've been told all these feminism and whatnot, and a man shouldn't carry this. But their biology is calling. They want this thing. They can't help themselves. But there's also all these opportunities. So at the very end, if you're in your 40s and you decide that you're going to become an orphanage for these people, that is totally up to you. It is actually your fault because you are going to lose. You will not have peace, and people know this. Everybody is being warned about it, but for some weird reason, a lot of us simply do not listen. You must listen. When you get to your 40s, you should have your mind right to make sure that you're not pulled in by flimsy offers. That is what we are talking about here. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm trying this new content. I hope you do like it. And you can leave a comment, like, and then you can share with anybody that you think would like this type of channel. So I'm going to try to be uploading every day of the week, at least one video, and see how that does. All right? Peace.